Throughout this series of videos, I've been showing you how to quilt feathers in several different ways and how to fill in around it. And I could just leave it at that and send you on your merry way, but I'm not. I know that not every quilt is going to have the perfect area to fit in your feathers, so I'm going to show you my absolute favorite way to fit feathers in irregular shapes. Spoiler alert, it's super easy once you know how to do it. And I'm going to show you on my sewing machine and my long arm. And be sure to stick around to the very end because I'll tell you how you can get a free downloadable PDF with quilting diagrams, plus I'll show you what this looks like on actual quilts. Let's check out an example of an irregularly shaped area. If you've been quilting along with me throughout these videos, then this space will look pretty familiar to you. It's the space in the middle of our panel. It's definitely an irregular area, to say the least. First, let's mark where we want our feather to go. I'm going to put it towards the center of my area, but I'm going to make it a little wavier than normal using my Wave F ruler. This is just a teeny bit more challenging, but it is the Free-motion Challenge Quilting Along after all. And I'm going to mark guidelines with the same curve, just a space away from the main line, even if it goes over the piecing or off the edge of the quilt or somewhere other than the quilting area. Now, all that's left to do is to feather the heck out of this irregular shape. Using a dark thread color, I'm going to quilt along the spine as usual. If you have the coordinating thread collection, you could use the lighter pink or the yellow thread. Once I'm at the end of my area, I'm going to start quilting my feathers as normal. I'm using the custom feather, but you could do the basic feather, of course. And for a refresher on how to quilt each of them, check out the description box below for links to tutorials. At first, it'll be quilting as normal, but then the inevitable is going to happen. We're going to run out of room. Keep quilting the feather as normal until you reach the edge of your area. Then travel along the edge and return to the spine as if you quilted the whole petal. Keep quilting the feather as normal until you reach the edge of your area. Then travel along the edge and return to the spine as though you quilted the whole petal. It's this bit of traveling that makes the feather look like it's going behind the area. See, I told you it's pretty easy. Everything else is the same. I'm still going to make my line merge into the spine, and I'm still traveling a bit to get to the next one. I'm just cutting a few of them off once in a while. When quilting feathers in those irregular shapes, sometimes you'll have an area where the feather won't fill. Use echoing or a different filler to quilt in those areas while you're there if possible. It'll save you the time of having to come back. I'm going to continue quilting, traveling when necessary, and quilting the whole petal when available. So, can I tell you a secret? Do you know why I love quilting feathers this way so very much? Well, it's true that I think bigger feathers are more beautiful, and I do like the look of depth it adds to a quilt. But the main reason is it's a lot quicker to quilt a big feather and less filler than vice versa. It's efficient and stunning. Now it's time to load this on my long arm and quilt the other side of my feather. Quick spray to remove my marking, and the result is a big, beautiful feather that will fill anywhere, even irregular shapes. Are you ready for some quilty eye candy? I want to show you what this looks like on actual quilts. Now, finding examples of this through my quilting pictures was not very difficult. Turns out I do this quite often. The first time I tried this technique was on a quilt for Tula Pink called Spiked Punch. She wanted me to quilt some creepy feathers, but I knew the background area wasn't big enough for the big feathers I wanted to quilt. So I just added some traveling, and the next thing I knew, I had some beautiful feathers that looked like they were going behind the blocks. Even though I quilted this quilt back in 2012, I am still in awe of it every time I look at it. I mean, it's not every day you get to quilt spider webs on quilts. This quilt, the I Heart You quilt by Julie Herman, the irregular space that I'm filling in isn't between blocks, it's between the edge of the quilt and the center of the quilt. Quilting the feather so that it frames the center means that I had to deal with some irregularly shaped areas, but I just made the feather look as though it was running off the edge, adding a little traveling when I got to the blocks, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. This quilt is from her book, Alphabet Soup. I quilted a lot of the samples in the book, so I'm sure you wouldn't be surprised to see this technique used over and over again. But what good is it to have a rule if you don't break it every once in a while? In this quilt, Sugar Skulls, from my book Quilt with Tula and Angela, I quilted a big feather around the outside of the quilt, but every once in a while I intentionally quilted the feather so that it went over the skulls. I'm not sure if I did it just because I was easily amused or because I thought it looked better. Either way, I think it turned out really fun. So the next time you're faced with an irregular shape on your quilt, remember this handy tip and soon you'll be feathering your quilts until they fly. If you're quilting along with me in the Free-motion Challenge, go ahead and fill the middle area of your panel with that feather, remembering to travel and echo to fill in those spaces. Be sure to check out the description box below. It has a link to free downloadable quilting diagrams that I put together just for you. If you've been enjoying these videos or any of my quilting tutorials, I hope you'll give this video a thumbs up or leave a comment below. That will really help get my videos in front of other quilters. Well, I'll see you next week with another machine quilting tutorial. Happy quilting!